Now, very interesting question from Fred in Fort Myers. Fred is doing his homework. It says, I understand the statute of limitations for an action on a contract is 5 years. That's correct. So if the bank doesn't file a foreclosure suit in 5 years, do I get a free house? The answer is, logically, you would say yes, but the answer is going to be no. And without giving away too much information here, Fred, there's a Florida Supreme Court opinion out there which really, to me, muddies these waters beyond belief. And in a nutshell, without going through a thorough analysis and driving everybody else who doesn't care crazy, and if you don't care about foreclosure questions, this may be a good time to run to the restroom or go get a snack or a drink. But basically what the Florida Supreme Court decision said is that each month you don't pay, that creates a new breach. So if you stopped paying 5 years ago, and now you're at 5 years and 1 month that hasn't been paid, from a logical standpoint, I would say, well, since that's the date of the breach, it's been beyond the 5-year statute of limitations, you have an affirmative defense if they file a foreclosure suit against you saying statute of limitations. They're suing me outside of the applicable statute of limitations. Based upon the Supreme Court decision, well, they could come in and argue under the Supreme Court decision, Supreme Court of the State of Florida, let me clarify that. Under that decision, they could say, no, we didn't. The breach we're talking about happened 2 months ago. So therefore, I can sue on that. And I could sue on the month before and anything in that 5-year period. The only way you're safe, in my opinion, there's no argument to be made under the Supreme Court of Florida decision, is if your mortgage, you haven't paid it, it expires, and let's say it was due to finish making payments in 2020, you wait from 2020 to 2025 and then add a month. Now you're beyond the statute of limitations according to the analysis in the Supreme Court opinion. It's muddy, it's murky, I get it. The language to me was just thrown in there, smushed all around, and then the opinion was issued. And we sat there shaking our heads when we read it. We're like, what in the world? How do you advise a client on this? Because this tells me what Fred says is absolutely correct. Statute of limitations, 5 years from date of the breach. No doubt about it. This kind of throws a monkey wrench into the pool. And then it's like dropping oil into gasoline. Now what? How do you advise a client on that? You do your best. And you say, look, according to this, here's what I can tell you, and here's what I can tell you, and here's what I can tell you. But I have some bad news. Here's what I can tell you, here's what I can tell you, here's what I can tell you. So Fred, excellent question. It's an unanswered question of law. I'm glad you brought it up. Shows me you're doing your homework. I really love when I get questions like this that make me think, make the consumer think, but it gives me the show gives me the opportunity to get this information out there to everybody and let you know, folks, sometimes there are no answers, and this is one of them. So yeah, it's something that we're grappling with on a daily basis, wondering what's going to happen next.